Yeah. Bro code.
Bro code, we in new modes, and we do it better sticking together. Won't bend, won't fold. No, I got your back through whatever weather, rain, sleet, or snow. Making profit while we get to the cheddar. They know we own. Take off, we gone. Diamonds two-tone. This is our throne. We in that zone. Bro code. Don't break bro code. Bro code. We in that mode. We in that mode, everything I'm doing with you, so we build a bigger picture. You was my bro, everything I'm building with you, so the family is richer. They better ask us about it, they know that we bought it, so they better not press with no issue. Oh, no, mess with one of us, that's two of us, that's coming at your door. If the two of us ain't feeling you, the three of us on go. If you come to play with three of us, we bout to let it blow. And we handing out that smoke, cause it's bro code. We in new modes, and we do it better sticking together. Won't bend, won't fold. No, I got your back through whatever weather, rain, sleet, or snow. Making profit while we get to the cheddar. They know we own. Take off, we gone. Diamonds two-tone. This is our throne. We in that zone. Bro code. Don't break bro code.
YouTube,
Bro code family,
social media. You know what it is? The #1 male podcast in America. My bad, Coop. Period. It's your boy from Bro Code. What's going on? Hey, today's topic, bro, is a great topic.
Very serious.
Okay? Very serious topic. It's something that I feel like that we should basically shed light on.
Yes.
That really needs it.
Yes.
Okay. But to help us out with it, okay, because, you know, I caught a little reinforcement in. Okay.
We got reinforcement.
So we're going to bring to the set Miss Renisha Smith.
Miss Smith.
Welcome to the show, Miss Smith. Come on in.
Welcome.
Welcome. What's going on?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Go ahead and tell our guests a little bit about yourself.
My name is Renisha. I work as a crisis line advocate for Partnership Against Domestic Violence. And so our program is basically, the mission statement of it is to end the crime of domestic violence against anybody who's experiencing it. And what I do, in my role, is I answer the crisis line and assess people when they are going through whatever they're going through when they're trying to flee situations. Okay. So I handle I'm the first contact.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm curious to know how many calls a day do you get?
Right.
A lot. I don't.
Wow.
The phone just rings. Sometimes it's quiet. Towards the end of the day, it's quiet, but midday, morning, it's just ringing. Yeah.
So our topic today is there a solution for domestic violence? So when I did the research on this topic, I was really blown away by some of the numbers that I was coming up with, doing the research. Okay. One that really got me was approximately 1 in 10 men in the U.S. experience contact, sexual violence, physical violence, stalking, all that by their partner. And I'm like, 1 in 10? Bro, it's this is 25% of the men deal with domestic violence.
To hear that a man deals with domestic violence is almost laughable, right? For most people, because we're men, right? We're strong. We're not man ain't getting domestically, none of that stuff, right? But it happens. And even the first time I heard about it, I was like, wait, a man?
Right.
But I see some of the, even TV shows, but even in real life, I've seen some guys get slapped up by their wife, and I was like, did she just smack him?
Talking to him a certain way, right?
Right.
Yeah, because
real reckless.
The thing about it is at first when I thought about the domestic violence, I was like, okay, ain't too many dudes gonna get beat on like that, like that. But then as I started doing more research on it, and it started talking about the different types of abuse that you go through for domestic violence, it was like, oh, wow. So I started questioning myself, hold up. I went through that. I went through that.
Normal, average, day-to-day stuff.
So you talking about physical abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse. The one that blew my mind, financial abuse,
Yeah.
emotional abuse, and stalking. But the crazy part, I said financial abuse. Like, how basically is it financial abuse? Then I thought about it, and a friend of mine, she was like, well, if you think about it, you have a lot of women that go through domestic violence, okay? A lot of guys don't want them to leave. But if you are that woman that the man is solely taking care of you, and he shut down all finances, how can you leave?
You can't.
So I'm gonna turn it over to you in a minute, but as like I said, I did a little research, and another number that kind of blew my mind was it says that the actual cost of health dealing with domestic violence, like, as far as like the different cases, $5.8 billion.
You said billion?
Billion with a B?
Billion dollars.
And what is this?
Bruh.
The cost of what?
That's dealing with domestic violence, from the sheltering and the everything the women going through, the guys going through. All of that comes up a total of $5.8 billion. That's a lot of money, bro.
Yeah,
It is.
it is. It is.
That could feed a couple of countries.
That's what I'm saying. So, Miss Smith, you in the program called Partnership Against Domestic Violence. So why don't you tell our guests a little bit about the program? If there are women that's watching that's going through this, give them some type of information where they can reach out to you guys
Or
to
men.
get the help. Or
Yeah,
men,
men too,
or men
yeah.
too,
You're right.
that they can get that help.
Okay, so we are a 90-day program. The number is 404-73-176-766. So you call in basically, and you let us know that you're seeking shelter or whatever kind of help, because we have shelter, we have legal advocacy, we have a housing program, and we have like support groups and like an outreach program for people in the community who don't necessarily want to come to shelter, but they still want like some support. So you call in, you do an assessment, and I basically get your information over to whatever department you need. If you need shelter, then I assess you and then bring you into whatever shelter. And if we don't have the space, I will call someone else to another shelter in Georgia, because we have like a list of a lot of shelters. So we call and advocate for if we don't have the space. But
So,
So this
sorry,
shelter for families as well. So it's like
yeah,
I mean,
so if you have kids,
Mhm.
and I've had men call,
okay.
Yeah.
men have called.
So when you have a man call, what's the first thing you thinking?
Right. You think it's a joke? Like you think you're playing?
No, I don't think it's a joke. It's just what it is.
Yeah, domestic
It's
violence, yeah.
different because
So
it is.
how's it different though?
No, it's just like a different like that a man is calling, because it's
Right.
usually women, but it's different when it's a man. So it kind of makes me pay more attention to, like, not that I don't pay attention, but it's just like, okay, what's going on, and it,
Can you, without any details, like say like an example of a man calling in with some kind of scenario that he's going through, that he's needing help?
Okay. So there was. Okay, so you call in, or a guy called in and stated that because domestic violence also includes cohabitation, so it's not always just a partner, a romantic partner. It can be family members.
Okay.
So his situation was his mom was abusing his kids while he wasn't there, and he needed to leave.
Mm.
So, yeah.
So with the shelter, say if there's somebody, female or male, hasn't been domestically, hasn't been assaulted or anything like that, but they fear, like they have those threats of being assaulted, can they contact your shelter to say, hey, you know what, I'm in a situation, if I leave my partner, I feel threatened that he's going to do something to me? Can they like be proactive on that?
You can call for that. I've had people just call just to vent and talk to them.
Wow.
So let me throw this number at you. 960,000. It says 960,000 incidents of domestic violence per year.
Per year?
Per year.
Okay.
Per year.
That's a big number.
It is. Yeah.
Is that just national, or is that global? Where those?
It's basically like national. Like,
So it's just U.S.
Just U.S.
numbers.
960. That's a lot.
I think it's probably more than that too.
Maybe.
Probably the
I mean,
that's just to
that's
get
what's
reports.
reported.
That's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Because when you
So-
factor in the stuff that's unreported, it's
Yeah.
probably almost double.
So, you being a black female, okay, I'm gonna step on the line when I say this. Not saying it's accurate, but it's more of an opinion versus facts. You deal with this on a daily basis, so you can state whether or not it's more factual than an opinion. Okay, but I feel like you said, cool, the number may be higher than that. But why is it that the majority, or when it comes to domestic violence, the majority of the race that don't report it is black women?
Why? That's a good question.
Why do you think it is?
Well, I think it's because, number one, like, it just depends. I think it depends on where you are in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because some women, that's all they know. So even though he being your brains out, if he taken away from you, you lost. You don't have nothing. So I feel like it's their way of protecting him. But at the same time, you protecting him more than you protecting yourself.
I think part of it is resolution. I think some of them feel like there won't be a resolution. There won't be anything done to them. It's almost just like rape. You know, it's one of those situations where it's, unless there's like marks or something, some type of evidence left, I mean, what are they going to do? It's your word against his. You know what I'm saying?
I think being because I was in a verbally abusive relationship, I think, and it wasn't something that I was like trying to get out of because I didn't understand what was going on when it was happening. I didn't understand until after, and then I look back and I'm like, oh, that's what was happening. But I didn't know when it was happening. Like, it's a mental thing. I feel like it's when you're in that situation, it kind of takes over your mental, and you don't have a good sense of direction of what's going on.
So with the mental, tell us how big of a part does fear plays in that?
Like, were you scared to leave, or were you just? So
I wasn't scared.
You
That's
just
the
didn't
whole
know
thing.
what was going on,
No,
really.
I didn't understand it. I wasn't scared.
Yeah, like you said, you didn't even feel the need to leave because you didn't know what was going on. Yeah.
But I think I kind of evaluated myself when it came to that. And it was because of childhood things. Like, I didn't, I don't want to just be like my family was verbally abusive, but I think we were more like hard on each other, but it was normal. So I didn't see that as being something that wasn't normal.
Right. You grew tough skin from your childhood. Yeah.
But that's the thing, like, and we probably all can attest to that. Like, it's not normal.
Yeah, no, it's
You know what I'm
not.
saying? Like, when we get older and we experience different situations and we figure out, well, damn, I grew up like that, but that shit wasn't normal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And trauma. Yeah. Like, we normalize tragedy and trauma because, I mean, if you look back at like our, ancestors and our, fathers and mothers, like, they went through the same thing. So it's like, oh, well, they went through it. They just making sure that I got tough skin and I can handle the world. But
yeah,
that's not the case. It's a different way of handling it. It's a different way of preparing, your kids and stuff like that for.
Do you think too, like, I guess traditionally, like back in the day, women were sometimes treated as property, right? So
that too.
The fathers would basically find the best man they can and marry their daughters off, right? Prime example, what is it? Color Purple, right?
True.
Here you go, and then it just treat the women like property, right? Do whatever you want to them, right? And just knowing that now it's not acceptable, right? So we just got to change that narrative,
right? And it's becoming a little bit easier for women to change that narrative because a lot of women now aren't, they aren't traditional women, I guess you can say. They're not the stay-at-home, cook and clean, have babies type women.
Independent,
right? They're more independent. Yeah. They want, they want their own 40 acres and a mule, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So that vision, from back in the day isn't, it's not so clear with them. Like they got a different vision.
Right.
Yeah.
How much do y'all think the economy plays on domestic violence? Like I think, when you look at the economic situation. People are struggling financially.
It's stress, man.
It's stress. You know, people are losing jobs from the pandemic. You know, so I think when it comes to domestic violence and to your topic, you know, is there a solution? I think we have to factor in two things: mental illness, and also the economy, like, you know, finances.
I mean, a lot of times, you know, people, they end up hurting the people that's closest to them.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Out
know
of
what I mean?
frustration.
Yeah.
Out of frustration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can think that Orlando's the nicest guy in the world, right? But then his family at home, they know that he don't act that way once he behind the closed doors with the family, right? He's a completely different person, right? He puts on that persona in front of everybody else,
Yeah.
but he's truly not that person, right? He's two different people, really. You know, that happens a lot.
Oh yeah.
And then also, I think, man, it also comes from, you know, that's why I feel like it's very important that you really watch what you do around your kids. You know what I'm saying? The upbringing, I feel like, plays a lot with that because, like, you know, being from down south, like, I seen plenty of times where, you know, it been altercations, arguments, and then plop.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then you looking like, okay, like, wow.
That just
But-
happened?
Right.
what
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you see?
Like what?
That
Like
shock.
what? But then the crazy part about it is you're not really looking at the fact that it happens. You're looking at the result of it. Like, okay, you just got your head knocked off. So what's next? And then when you wake up the next morning, you still there. You're like, okay, so that means if I
okay.
do it, that's what's supposed to happen. Because some kids think like that. So you like, okay, I watched my dad beat up my mom, and she stayed there for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? She never leave. So why is it that when I get in a relationship and I get in an argument and I beat you up, now you leaving? That's not how it's supposed to go. So that's why I said we got to really, you know what I'm saying, think about the things that we do in front of our kids because, like I say, a lot of things that we do, and domestic violence is one of the biggest things because, like, I have basically been I was in a situation, you know what I'm saying, and, like, I forgot the way it actually happened, but when I came back and I was talking to the female, she was like trying to fight. I'm like, hold up, we don't do that. She was like, I said, look, I don't know what kind of dude you used to dealing with or what you did with in the past. I'm not that dude. So this abusive fighting and all this, you got the wrong dude for that.
I think it's tough for a lot of females because once they get put in that situation and they leave it, it's hard to leave it behind. So the next guy that they talk to when they get into maybe a confrontational moment, that guy is not going to take it to that level. That's what they know. So they already on go. Like, oh, you finna get it. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard for them to reel it back in because they haven't understood what happened. Is that fight or flight kicks in, and two, they haven't gotten any counseling to help them with.
Right. Therapy.
Yeah, therapy. They haven't received because, of course, people don't believe in therapy. You know, they just like, oh, I'm fine. I'll work it out myself. No, you need somebody to help you work it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why, you know, it's like a continuous thing, you know, when it shouldn't be.
And people need to learn how to communicate. A lot of arguments stem from not knowing how to communicate,
Understand it.
and talk to each other. You know, some people would just rather yell and scream, and some people don't receive that well. You know, so then you got friction, you got tension, and then it can escalate. You know, but if you know how to talk to somebody or talk to each other, then that can probably be some resolve right there. Just being able to talk it out. You know, but doesn't always happen.
Yeah, I don't know what the statistics are, but I know for sure it's been said that, you know, a lot of women that get abused, they stay there for a long time, and a lot of times if they leave and go to a place like that you all are providing, they'll end up going right back to the situation, right? And it usually takes maybe 2 or 3 times of them leaving and coming back before they finally say, okay, I'm done, right? And I'm gonna figure out a way to escape the situation, right? I know my mother-in-law and my wife, they were in that kind of situation where, you know, it was kind of like a back and forth type thing until finally one day it was just like, got to the point to where I think my wife said that she was gonna just leave, right? Even if her mom didn't leave, right? And so I just hate knowing that women are in that type of situation where it's, you know, so much abuse.
Yeah.
You know, and then the men that they're dealing with, man, I just feel they cowards, right? If you can sit there and just constantly beat on a woman or something like that, then you definitely a coward.
It's definitely something that's, you know, your cuckoo clock ain't
It's mental.
Ain't
It's
cuckoo.
mental illness. That's right.
What I think one of the funniest thing I can remember about as far as domestic violence, the reason why I said funny because when it happened, I was like blown away. So you know, I do movies and plays. So I had this lady, this girl that was in my play. So one of the scenes that I wrote in the play is when the guy lets her know that he's been cheating, and he comes up with a sexually transmitted disease, one he can't get rid of, right? And she's mad and emotional and whatever. And the way I wrote it in, she has to slap him, right? So the guy that played the part was me. So during the practice, the girl, she was, doing the part or whatever. So when she slapped me, it's like, bro, like my eyes shook. I was like, wow, like this practice. This ain't this ain't
You got to practice like the
right. Like
like
this
the
ain't
game time,
this
man.
ain't this ain't the show. This practice, right? So I'm like, and she like, but when she did it, it's like you can see like her whole body language changed. Like she flinched. Like I was like, okay. A couple weeks after that, she was on Facebook telling her story how she went through domestic violence where the dude had her sleeping on the floor, beating her with belts and everything. The crazy part about it is me and the dude look alike. So when you did that, only thing you seen was him.
Yeah.
So I was like,
So she thought she was coming back at her.
yeah, like bro. So when she flinched, I was like, oh, okay, like no, this practice, but it hurt. But like take a little off of it.
Right.
Okay. But the crazy part about it, but when I read her story, I contacted her. I was like, so now it makes sense. Like I did not. But when I tell you, she had a long paragraph from the sleeping on the floor to the getting beat with belts and all that, bro. I'm like, why didn't you just tell me that I would never put you in a situation like that? For you to basically
Relive that moment.
Yeah, because it was like a trigger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then I think that's one of the main things that when it comes to domestic violence, a lot of things people do. That's why I agree with you, AC. Communication is important. When you first meet people and people asking you to talk about things you've been through, like we said, them red flags, that's your time to really get into stuff like that.
Yeah, but what could actually make you want to have another person sleeping on the floor,
Right.
beating them with a belt?
Control, bro.
Control, it's
Control.
Yeah.
But
It's all about control.
Yeah,
Just-
but what has made you, you know what I'm saying, in your mind to say, hey, I got to control somebody like
Whatever
this?
they couldn't control with themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could come from
Upbringing.
it could come from bullying as a child.
Right.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
why
it
they
could
said
come
a lot
from
of- A lot of
neglect.
people that's bullied turn into police officers, right?
Yeah.
And stuff
Yeah.
like that, you know, because now they can do the bullying.
Right.
I think it's, we talk about red flags and, having those conversations when we meet people, initially. That's probably one of those conversations that's not going to be had. It's going to be very, very difficult. And it won't be had until a situation arises when it's like, hey, what you doing? Like, it's just a disagreement. Why you trying to put hands on me? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's when that conversation is going to come up. So now they're embarrassed and they may be reluctant to have that conversation.
Right.
But if it's going to be a continuation of that relationship, it has to be had. So, you have to allow them that moment to, get themselves prepared to talk about whatever it was that happened, to put them in that place. Because for them, it might be embarrassing, to meet a new guy and to trying to start over, and then you fall back into the same thing that you did with your old guy. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely difficult, but it's necessary. And so when it's had, you have to be able to help them, not just run from them and be like, oh no, bro, she crazy, bro. She tried to put hands on me because I said the sky was blue and she said it was white. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have to be able to help them and be, a support system for them.
So I got two questions that I jotted down. The first question is for my brothers, and the second question is going to be for you.
Okay.
So the first question I got is, as a man, how should you handle physical and verbal abuse? So I'll start with it. So, like I said, during this topic, I truly learned a lot, and I realized I'm like, you know what? I went through a lot of that. I'm saying, so when I was married, I was saying, like, my wife had a tendency to like just talk. But some of the stuff she was saying, I'm like what? Like who you think you're talking to like that? Like it would be instances at the church. We show up to a friend's house for dinner. We get out the car, I'm getting the baby, and she's like, look, I'm saying, don't go in here talking. Don't go in here doing this. If you're going to do this, we're going to do this. And then if you can't do this because I don't have time to be playing with you, I'm like, the baby can't talk. Who you talking to like that? I'm saying, you talking to the baby? You talking to me like that? No, I'm just telling you because this, that, and the third. And it came to a point where, like, she got so emotional to, like, you want to throw hands.
Was this out the blue or was it like?
No, this like a process.
Right.
So it's gradually got
Right. So, it gradually got worse to the point where I had to lock her up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to literally call the police and lock you up in front of my baby. The baby was like, "Where is my mama going?" I said, "She's taking a ride."
Right.
I was like, because like this is unacceptable. And the thing about it is, I think the thing about as far as men, me personally, you know what I'm saying, like. I'm not finna hit you, number one. Right. But I'm definitely not gonna do it because I think about all the stuff I'm in danger of losing.
Right.
I'm saying, like, I don't work too hard to get where I am, to go to jail and lose everything because I slap you. I'm saying, if anything, I'm gonna leave you alone. That's gonna hurt worse than me slapping you. Okay. Right. But like I said, with the situation, and then like a family member was mad. It was like you had my sister locked up. I said, bro, I got one question for you. Would you rather me lock her up or would you rather go see her at Grady?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm saying because like you can only take so much to the fact that, you know what I'm saying, when you start, you know, snapping, and then once again, I'm gonna look in the camera and say this because some women are good at this. Okay. Sometimes that playing you doing and you get emotional and you get mad and want to slap. Okay. Sometimes some guys, you may think this your boo and this your babe and you know everything about him, but you don't know the childhood and what may trigger.
Right.
You know, something like he might have been that kid that was hiding in the closet, looking at the closet, watching his mama get her butt whooped all the time. And now all of a sudden that one slap might trigger all that because now he feel like, okay, I should have helped my mama so that he got my time to get my anger out.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful who you put your hands on.
Exactly.
Men have trauma just like women. That we just deal with it differently. You know, and like you said, like depending on the situation that we may or may not get put in, it may come out, and it may come out in a bad way.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, everybody, you know, been in relationships and had arguments and stuff at different times, and I think, you know, as men, we try not to argue. You know, we try not to, you know, be put in that situation where our freedom will be compromised, our livelihood will be compromised. Because we, you know, don't want to do that because we have worked hard to get to a certain point. And we definitely don't want to mess that up and start over, have to start over. So I think, you know, we definitely try to take different approaches. And then I think we always give passes too, like, hey man, you know, we're not trying to do that over here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If, you know, if we can't have a civil conversation, then, you know, I think you need to leave.
And I feel like age comes with it too. As you grow into your manhood and you grow and you want that place of peace that we talked about.
Right.
You learn from your trials and your tribulations. You know, I'll be upfront and say that I've been a victim of domestic abuse. I've also been guilty of domestic abuse. You know, so but what I've learned in those situations is check my emotions. You know, if you're in a situation where you're heated and you got all these feelings and got all these thoughts in your head, take a step back.
Remove yourself from the situation.
Yeah, you got to remove yourself from the situation. And another thing that I learned in my years of coming up, don't hold things in.
Right.
That's what a therapy. That's what a therapy comes in to help. You know, talk to somebody. Don't, because I used to let things fester and build up. I used to be a quiet kid. I used to just take things in, just hold it in, and then when something comes, I explode. And what I had to learn through the years is, no, you got to talk it out. You got to talk it out. Find somebody to talk to the Lord, talk to a counselor, talk to somebody that got your best interest, instead of letting stuff just build up. You know,
and that's where a lot of it comes from, just holding in. It might not even have nothing to do with that particular person, but you know, you got all this stuff that's going on over here, and this, and then here they come with and it's like, it's not the day today for that.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we definitely have to be better with that as people and choose peace and choose love instead of violence, as they say.
Yeah. No, I agree with y'all. It's basically from a guy's perspective, you safer. It's safer just to remove yourself from the situation, right? wait for everything to kind of calm down, and then go back and try to talk through this, through it, cordially, right? Because both of y'all hot, what I'm saying? Nothing good can come out of the situation.
Nothing good is gonna come out of it.
Y'all are angry and stuff like that.
Right.
Firsthand have had to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And if you're in a situation and you see that you're like, I would give advice to people like if you're a talker or you're a yeller or a screamer, and that other person, it's almost like fire and gasoline, right? You know what I'm saying? If somebody's got a temper and then you're just running your mouth, you're pouring gas on that situation. So, people need to learn to just
because you're not for one thing, you're not gonna hear each other.
right.
No.
Yeah, you're not hearing
times,
each other.
right?
Nobody
Yeah.
hearing nobody.
Nope. So y'all just yelling. Y'all ain't gonna get nowhere, right? So that's why a lot of times, a lot of counselors and stuff will say that, hey, if y'all arguing about something, step back from the situation.
Yeah.
Hey, plan to come back, right? For sure. Like, don't let it don't hold it,
Right.
and then build up more stuff. But plan to come back to that situation. If you know what I'm saying,
Yep.
as soon as you can, as soon as both of y'all calm down, come back and see if you can, get through it.
Yep.
I always say if you going through something or having a heated argument, like take a break from it. But the thing about it is when you take that break, you already know your point of view, what you stand on. Take the time to think about the other person's point of view, the point they're trying to make. So when you go back to the conversation, you can meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say, like my pastor has said, you should be slow to speak and quick to listen.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you need to listen in, because I know I have problems with that. Like I hear something, but I ain't listening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to my wife or whatever, and I done missed everything, and I'm already coming with a rebuttal already, right? Instead of just listening all the way and even asking questions. Like a lot of times, like now what I'm trying to do is that, if she's speaking to me, I say, hey, is this what you meant? Right. Before I even come back.
clarity.
You know,
Clarity,
and make sure I got everything is 100%. Okay,
Yeah.
now this is my answer, right?
Right.
And I'm actually we've been going to counseling here recently, and that's one thing I've been trying to incorporate to make sure, hey, I know exactly what you said, so my answer fits your
There you go.
question.
Yeah.
And that's,
You know what I
it's
mean?
good that you can admit that, because a lot of people won't admit that. And that's probably 99.9% of arguments. People listen to respond and not listen to understand.
Oh yeah, as soon as you say something, I'm ready. I'm already. I say,
Oh, yeah.
here it
Yeah.
come.
Yep.
Here it come.
They want to be quick with it.
Yeah,
You
right.
said something?
That's
Oh,
right.
boom, I got you back.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Instead of listening and be like, you know what? I don't feel like that, and this is my thought.
Yeah.
So let me go a little deeper before I bring Miss Smith in. So as a man, how tough would you say it is? Okay, you say you went through domestic violence, but you also was part of the person doing domestic violence. So I'm saying, and I admit, I'm saying, like during the course of the domestic violence, you then eventually I got to the point where I pushed you against the wall. Okay, I'm like, look, like that's what
Calm down.
don't like no more of this. Okay, but at the same time, like it did something to me, because I'm like, listen, I shouldn't even have to go to that
She
point.
pushed you against the wall.
No, I did the pushing.
Oh, I would say she
Yeah, I don't
pushed you
think,
against
I
the
don't
wall.
think he's pushing.
You got to tell the story now. You lying.
Yo, why y'all were coming for me, man?
That's what I thought I heard, man. That's why I'm asking questions. Didn't I tell you about asking questions?
They be working. You learn it, bro. It's working. But no,
He got
I'm
clarity.
saying, listen, like, hey, I'm gonna give you kudos on that. It's working. But no, so the thing about it is like, so how tough is it? I'm saying for you to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I got an issue I need to deal with. Like, and then sometimes it's even tougher to go to your partner and say, listen, hey, even though you're gonna go into our some people, most people do it and that can sleep at night.
Right.
But go to your listen, you know what just went on, I want to apologize. That's not me. But I need some help.
I think it's for men, it's tough, because a lot of us probably saw parents or relatives, some close in nature, that was doing that.
Yep.
So they probably thought it was normal. It's like normal practice.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Especially like older. But it wasn't. But we don't know that until we get older, and it's like, that wasn't supposed to be going down like that.
Right,
But-
right.
You know what I'm saying?
But I don't even see how, like you said, okay, if you push your woman or whatever into the wall, man, and then actually go to sleep at night and be sleeping in the bed comfortable, and she up moving around, ain't no way, man. I like, how do you even get that comfortable to where I done pushed her, hit her, or something like that, and I'm just gonna go to sleep? Man, I be scared. One of them cast iron be, you wouldn't even wake up. You wouldn't even know what happened, right? You just wake up in the hospital looking right up at that light like that. You be like, man, my house don't got no lights like that.
Look,
Right?
So I'm gonna share a story my mama told me about her my pops. I'm laughing. It's funny, but it's not. So they used to always get into it. Like my whole life, I saw them like cats and dogs. Like y'all crazy. Like what y'all doing together? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think they got married. They was like in their 20s.
Yeah.
So they, my parents was together for like 32, 33 years. And so, at different times, they would always get into it anyway. So I think my mom said they had got like a new bed or something. So they was moving the, taking all the sheets off, the mattress, stuff like that. So she was like, when my pops was on one side, a butcher knife fell out from under the bed.
Yeah.
So he looking crazy, confused, like, why you got a butcher knife, under the mattress, she in her mind, she like, yeah, you know why. Right. So I'm laughing, but it's because listen to her tell the story, but it's crazy that at that point in time, that's how she had to live. And it wasn't just her, it was other women as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, in order to protect themselves, that's the extreme they had to go to.
Yeah.
A pair of scissors. And I've heard from different friends, over the years of living, like, military school. Yeah, my mom slept with a pair of scissors under her pillow.
And it's crazy because home's supposed to be your peace.
That's right. Especially
Exactly.
when you sleep in your bed.
That's my thing right there.
Right.
Like, mate, wife, girlfriend, I gotta go out and fight the world every day. I shouldn't have to come home and fight you too.
Right.
I shouldn't have to do that.
Right.
And when you're having to do that, it's not a situation that you need to be in.
So, Ms. Smith, you've been quiet for a little minute, so let me bring you in this thing.
She got her thoughts together. She ready.
Yeah. So my question for you is, I think this is a good question right here. What is your take on the difference between domestic violence and self-defense?
The difference.
Because reason why I say that, because some people, the whole relationship was good. All of a sudden, a fight break out. It's not like that you want to just beat somebody, but you just defending yourself. So, I had a friend that tell me, she was dating this guy, and one day she came home and then they got into it, and, everything was good. And all of a sudden, he just, knocked her to the floor. And she was like, at that point, the whole room turned red. And that thing, she was in jail. But it was self-defense.
I think it's being provoked because self-defense only going to happen when you're being provoked. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have to defend yourself.
Right.
Abuse is you just doing it. Like that's you provoking someone, abusing them, you saying these things to them, you putting your hands on them when you could just communicate.
Right.
I think a lot of men end up in situations where they have to do like it's self-defense and then it's looked at as domestic violence. But I've seen a lot of women provoke men to get them to do stuff. And that made me think about things differently because I'd never seen a woman do that before. Like a woman just provoke. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is why these situations happen.
Yeah.
But same with men. I know this girl told me, I forget what we were talking about, abuse, domestic violence, but she was like, her brothers will stay in a relationship with a girl who's being abusive just to get to the point where they can do it back.
Wow, really?
Wow.
They'll let the girl beat on them for so long, and then they'll snap.
Wow.
So it's like they building up every time, like a punch card.
So it's like they're justifying their violence.
Yeah, so
because
it's justified.
I'm
So then-
taking what you give me, so now I'm gonna give it to you. Wow.
Let's see if they can take it.
That's
crazy.
mental. That's mental illness.
Yeah, I don't know
That's crazy, man.
what to say about that one.
No, yeah, cause like me personally, no, all that fight, like I'm with you. I just can't beat your brains out and go to sleep and not thinking you're not gonna retaliate. The crazy part about it is you got I think some women allow that because they look at it, that's my time to leave or a chance to leave. But the crazy part about it is, and I think this is, you know what I'm saying, I can't really judge the woman because you never know the situation. But if you get out of the situation, the fact that you want to return to it is the part that kills me with it.
Man, I had a girlfriend one time, and one of her girlfriends was in a crazy abusive relationship. Like, Buddy used to beat this girl like black and blue. Like, literally black and blue. And she would not leave. And she finally got to the point and got up the nerve to leave. And she left. And she stayed gone for probably like, I want to say like 2 or 3 days. So she done turned my girl world upside down because now she trying to help her homegirl. She trying to, you know, like get her finances together because, of course, Buddy was controlling the money, so she didn't have no money. Trying to get her, you know, clothes. So now my girl spending money that she ain't got or had, but had for something else. You know, trying to get her, you know, somewhere to stay. Okay, what's the next plan? What we gonna do? You know, this, that, and the third. And then all of this for 2 to 3 days, and the girl wakes up one morning and was like, I'm finna go back.
That happened to me.
Like, he beat her on different occasions to the point where she went to the ER and was like, lady, you were inches or moments or minutes from like being in the afterworld. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, why? What about this man makes you want to potentially lose your life?
I think it's a self-esteem issue too.
I was
So.
going to say that.
Yeah, I think it's a
I think
self-esteem.
people in certain situations like that, they'll start to it makes you question yourself, and then when you start questioning yourself, you start thinking of ways to like make it okay or like make it understandable. But it's not, and it's like you shouldn't. But they get to that point, it's like their self-esteem is not there, so they're trying to figure out how they can keep it even though they know it's bad, but they hold on to the parts that were good so that it justifies it. But
And she was a pretty girl. That's what was crazy. Like, she was
That don't
literally a
matter.
pretty, yeah.
it doesn't.
And I realized that because, I mean, you know, of course, the logic is, oh, if she's pretty, then she has, you know, high self-esteem. She doesn't.
Right.
But that was
Usually those are the ones that were the lowest.
I've learned that in life.
I
My
learned
grandma
that
said
too.
that to me before when I was going through it. She was like, "You're so pretty. I don't understand why you're going through that." And I
Right.
it went over my head because it's just like,
Do y'all think that people in these situations should have a escape plan? Like you saying, like he was controlling the finances, or she could be controlling the finances. Should you figure out a way when you go into a relationship, especially if you've been in that situation before? Should you have a escape plan?
I'm gonna tell you what one of my buddies told me. One of my friends told me one time, and they're married, and they, you know, we was having conversations one time, and they was, you know, talking about, you know, life because life happens, and you know, but they were talking about how much they love their life, love their, you know, spouse, but they were like at the same time, they wasn't a fool. They always had a plan, a backup plan, and they always had reserve money. So whenever they got paid, a portion of that money, of their paycheck, went into that reserve money. So at any point in time, if anything came up, they wasn't unprepared. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was divorce, abuse, whatever, they were prepared and they could move accordingly. So to answer your question, yes, I think everybody should. I think one of my biggest things when talking about marriage, you're never going to get 100% of my money. Like, we're never putting 100% of our money in one account. It's never going to happen. Right. I don't care if God himself came down and said, do this. No.
Yeah.
No. You know.
What if you the only what if you the breadwinner and she don't work?
No, that's never gonna happen with me. Have you not been listening to me? That is not my life, Rico.
It's somebody
It's
with
never
a
gonna
situation.
be my life.
If it's one
No.
account because you the only one bringing the bread.
No, she won't be with me. I'm a two income household over here. That's not gonna happen.
That's it's about what you bring to the table.
Right. No, but to answer that question, it'll be more difficult. You know, for a person that's living or a person that's in a situation where it's a one income household, because 9 times out of 10, that person is going to be very, very controlling of the finances. Again, You know, one of the reasons or one of the things, you know, my mom told me was that's why she worked her entire life, because she never wanted to have to go to my pops and say, I need. You know what I'm saying? No, she never made a bunch of money, but with the money she made, she could do what she needed to do. You know what I'm saying? So for her, that was her thing.
Yeah.
Whether it was a good situation, a bad situation, they was into it, whatever. You know, she always made sure that she had and didn't have to go to him. But some people don't understand that. Some women are comfortable with the man controlling the money and them going to ask, and some they think it's cute, but it's not.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
think that's the funniest thing to me when you hear a lot of women be like, I just need a husband that's gonna take care of me.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so you do know with that taking care of you comes a lot of pressure and a lot of stress and a lot of other stuff. So you basically have to have a game plan where you know like all this thing that going on in the world where he's stressed at, you're gonna not be part of that stress. Because when he snaps, the first thing you think, well, you know what I'm saying? He take care of me. I thought he loved me, but then why he had to put his hands on me? That's what you signed up for.
Nah.
No, bro, listen. No, listen. I'm being honest with you on that because at the end of the day,
Like,
listen.
so like,
look,
I got-
hold on. Let me explain it before you come for it. Let me explain it. Let me explain it. I'm saying what I'm saying is like we said as far as the red flags. I'm saying you got to pay attention to the signs that you're seeing, not just the shopping sprees, not just the fact that he being nice to you and doing everything you ask him to do and taking it where you want to go. I'm saying because when it gets to that point, you never know. The first argument, if he ball up and then he don't do it, okay, that should be a sign you need to think about.
Of course, that's a sign, yeah. But that still has nothing to do with like if the man is saying, hey, you staying at home. There's things that she'll be doing at home that constitute work, right? Whether it's kids, households type stuff. 'Cause I got several friends that's just how they live. Like the guy is the breadwinner and his wife is at home with the kids, right? It don't make no sense for her to work because they got several kids and then it costs so much to put them in the daycare and all this kind of stuff. That's just their situation, right? That's how they feel to live, right? Just like when you get married, I know y'all talk about the bank account things or whatever. A part of being married is being vulnerable with that person, right? So if you can lay down next to that person every night and all this kind of stuff, you should be able to put your money, you know what I'm saying, into an account with them. Right, majority of the money you should be able to. I'm just saying. That's my.
They can get 20%.
You know what I'm saying? And so, because you shouldn't have to be having another account to hide. Like I.
No,
okay.
it's not hiding.
Yeah.
It's not hiding.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
I can show you the balance.
It's
I
gonna
can
be
show you
very
the balance.
visible. It's gonna be very visible.
Yeah.
But I, to me, that goes back to the old saying: "Don't put all your eggs in one basket." Just because of the unknown.
Yeah, but see, but the only
You
thing about it,
marry a person with the intention of being with them.
yeah,
right?
yeah. But I think that's a lot. You have to let down your guard, right? If you're gonna be married for a decent amount of time,
Right.
you're gonna have to let down your guard to a certain degree.
But I
right?
don't think that's not letting down your guard, because she gonna know. We gonna like all of this gonna be detailed prior to walking down the aisle.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a surprise.
Yeah, because see then like let's say for instance you got all this money over here and all this kind of stuff. Is she gonna be the beneficiary on the account?
For me, probably not, because my jitterbug is gonna get mine.
I mean, but still, if y'all married, she not gonna be the beneficiary.
I
on the
mean,
account?
she'll get something, but my jitterbug's getting mine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if we had kids together, then of course it would be divvied up accordingly. But if it's just me and her in our late ages,
Yeah.
no.
What,
I mean,
okay, what if you boom, bad car accident, you messed all up, you know what I'm saying? This extra money sitting over there, now she needs to get access to it. And you've been like she can't get access to the money, you know what I'm saying? Now you gotta go through all this, power of attorney and stuff like that because you messed up.
right?
You know, and now you got this account sitting over here that maybe got way more than y'all joint, you know what I'm saying? And you can't talk now and all this kind of stuff. So now she gotta go through all this mess to try to get access to this money to help you. You know what I mean?
I'm calling my jitterbug. He gonna come. He got me.
So let's
Pops,
so basically,
he gonna make sure pop straight. Yeah.
the solution, the bro code solution to this domestic violence thing, basically,
Remove yourself from the situation.
I agree. Remove yourself from the situation, but
Right.
but even if you can't remove yourself from the situation, I feel like I'm saying they're gonna always say prayer.
Yeah.
Okay, but definitely counseling, therapy. You know what I'm saying?
Don't hold things in.
we as men, you know what I'm saying, like the weight is already heavy on our shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before you get to a situation where you feel like you gotta put your hands on somebody, you know what I'm saying, you know, go talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying, call one of your homeboys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, you know, go see your pastor, or be man enough to admit you got a problem and go see some therapy.
Any suggestion for the women?
And yeah, for that, and also give us that. So one for my women and guys out there, 800 number for domestic violence, 1-800-799-7233. And then you got Miss Smith right here and her staff at the Partnership Against Domestic Violence. What's that number again?
404-873-1766.
Don't be afraid to use these numbers. You know,
Cool.
being able to wake up the next day is better than staying in a situation and being scared and fearful of your life. So,
And I'm gonna look in the camera and say this, ladies, guys, the fact that they put their hands on you don't mean that they love you.
Right.
Okay. They can love you without putting hands. If you're gonna put your hands on me, put your hands on me the right way,
right,
not the violent way. Okay.
baby oil.
Baby oil.
Right. Miss Smith. So this is the segment that we have called Ask Bro Code.
Yes, man.
Okay.
So since you are our guest, okay, I'm gonna let you put in this bucket right here one of the questions and read the questions. If somebody's name on it, let us know who put the question in, and then we're gonna go around the room and answer it, and you can comment if you want to.
Okay, Latoya Alston of Atapagus.
Atapagus.
Oh,
What's up, Toya?
Lord, Atapagus,
Classmate
Georgia.
right there.
Classmate.
What's going on, classmate?
The question is, after how many years of dating should the question of marriage come up or be discussed?
Ooh, that's a good question.
How many years?
Yeah, she said so after dating. So how many? When should
You know, sometimes I don't even think it take years. You know, if you know, and you got that feeling towards somebody, you have the right conversations. You evaluate the flag situation. It may not even take years.
Yeah.
It ain't the same day like in that first show we had. The lady, I'm sorry, but it ain't no love at first sight. I'm still Xing that one out.
I won't disagree with that. I think
Yeah.
sometimes it is, but
No,
you know, I think I don't think it takes.
You don't believe in love at
years.
first sight, man?
No, it's not possible.
For real?
I don't believe in that
It's
either.
100% impossible.
Yeah, love.
I don't know about that.
Because you don't
man.
know them. You just see the outside. You don't love them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Impossible.
it might be lust at first sight. Yeah, but I would agree. I don't think it take years. I think 12 months in after being with somebody, you know, especially if y'all spending time with each other like daily.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 12 months in, you're like, all right, maybe I can.
Yeah, the daily thing. Like if it's a long distance relationship, you see them like twice a month.
Right. That
Once a month. It take a little bit longer to know
take a little bit longer.
But if you in the same city and you like, oh, we done went out 2-3 times every single week, and you know we hanging together on the weekend and all that kind of stuff, it can be a lot faster.
Right. Right.
But it don't have to be years. I guess it could be, you know,
It could be. I mean, it's
many months.
right.
And I also think it takes two whole people too. You know, nobody's in the business of trying to build somebody up and seeing their potential and everything like that. Two people got to come to the marriage possibility as whole individuals.
Yeah, and it's probably where you are in your life at that particular time too.
Yeah.
All right, I think definitely at least a year and a half. I would say at least a year and a half.
Okay.
Reason why I say a year and a half, because you got to really get to know the person. I don't care if you spend time with a person every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still a step that you need to, you know what I'm saying? Not just with the person, but with yourself. Because like I said, depending on the last relationship you had or whatever situation you've been in, all that stuff plays a part. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like at least a year and a half, you know, that gives you time to really get to know this person. You know, it's going to be some situations going to come up, because I feel like no matter how long you've been together, one of the most important things I think is important is seeing how the both of you basically, number one, tackle adversity.
True.
And then two, that first argument. That first argument going to tell you a lot. You know what I'm saying? Are you the type of person that if we get into it over something simple, you're going to hold a grudge for 3 or 4 months? Or are you the type of person that, you know what I'm saying, if I make you mad, you're going to voice your opinion and tell me how you feel? Okay, or are you gonna be that person? You know what I'm saying? That when we get into it, now all of a sudden you don't want to communicate or you don't tell me what it is, what's going on, and instead of trying to figure it out, and then we steady bumping heads or whatever. So I feel like all that stuff plays a part because you got to really know who you marrying.
How long while you dating? How long before you ask them their credit score?
That's for the credit score. That's for the credit score.
Day one.
Well, you know what?
That could be day one.
But hey, you think?
Not day one. You know what I'm saying? But you need to know that kind of stuff, man.
Right.
But okay. But listen, you was the one that said a couple months. Okay.
Well, I said, but I might be an ex by then. Or
Look,
you might,
what did I say? When the feelings start turning and you start feeling like, oh, I could be with Shorty, like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So then, because you got to find all that little stuff out. Because all of a sudden, like if you sitting on an 850 or whatever, and then you find out she got a 450, then that might, you know what I'm saying, you might not like that. You know what I'm saying? That might cause some strife right there. You know what I'm saying? Like what you been doing with money, right? So then that might let you know that, hey, you definitely ain't dealing with the money.
Right.
You ain't
Right.
touching it.
Right.
Right. So you bank account? No, we ain't combining them. You got a 450. You don't know nothing about no money. My money stay away from yours. Right?
But you know, everybody
Well,
different with that money stuff. You know, everybody
I'm telling
different.
you, but it's a lot of questions that you got to
Yeah.
ask before you get married.
That's my
Right.
And
Tons of them.
listen, this might just be me.
How you will raise your kids.
Okay, all
Sure.
that.
All that kind of
Okay,
stuff.
all that. But this might just be me. Okay, I feel like even before I marry you, okay, I feel like we need to at least live together for like 6 months. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why I feel like that.
That's gonna end the relationship.
That's
I'm gonna
my
tell you.
point. There you go.
that's gonna
So
do
now
it.
listen.
I ain't shacking
Okay,
up.
because listen, like
That'll do it.
let's use okay. You meet this chick. Okay, you spending all this time with her, but she know you coming. So she don't clean the whole house up because you coming, okay? But then when you in the house with me, all that nastiness, I gonna come out, okay? So we living together, all your pet peeves, all the stuff you do's and don'ts, all that stuff gonna come out. So I need to know if I can deal with that because I'm not gonna be laying beside you, okay? I'm trying to hold you at night. You throwing elbows and stuff because you mad because I left the top off the toothpaste. Come on, man. I'm saying if you live together, you'll know all that before then you know if you can deal with it or not.
Right.
Am I being crazy?
No, that's true,
I'm
man.
just being real.
that's a good point.
That's me, man. That's just me. I can't speak for y'all.
You taking
Oh,
a
no.
test drive.
We gotta live together for a little bit. It might not be 6 months, but I gotta know how we. I'm saying, are you gonna cook breakfast in the morning? Do you cook?
So,
I mean,
you got,
something.
so you saying you got to test drive everything?
I got a test drive, bro.
everything Before you
I got a test drive.
I
bro.
think that's where you can have your mate or your somebody spend the night for like a week. Just spend
Yeah.
how many weeks
can
have
have
a weekend
sleep
out?
on.
No,
Yeah.
no, bro.
They're not
They can put on
not
for a
no
week.
Right. No, not no week, bro. You can put it up for a week. No, bro. Not no week.
After a while, after like weeks and months,
Right.
Then you just gonna stop. You know what I mean? You just gonna go to whatever's natural.
Right. Because
what I'm saying?
I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the woman on the show, okay? But you got some women, when they get home at night, they tired, they just step out their clothes and leave them there, okay? So then, you know what I'm saying? But then they know you coming, they don't clean all that up. If you living with me and you tired and you do that, I'm like, hey, man, listen, can you clean this up? You know what I'm saying? Or you might be the same. I think one of the funniest things about living with a female is the toilet seat. Do you know how many arguments how it happened? She's smiling because she laughed. You know how many arguments how it happened over the toilet seat? Like, listen, when you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, can you please let the toilet seat down? Listen,
can you-
I ain't thinking about that after I used the bathroom.
Dude,
But when I go
women leave
behind
it up.
you,
Yeah,
I'm saying I don't want to fall in the toilet.
Can you look down there and close it?
Yeah,
I'm
it ain't like the lid weigh 50 pounds. It's just-
But hey, there's some arguments that happen.
But you got the girls with their butt big enough, it don't matter, don't it? It's just
I'm gonna tell you one that drive me crazy.
What's
and
that, Coop?
You will get put out quick. Getting in my bed without taking a shower,
right. Oh yeah, that's a no-no.
bruh.
That's
been
a
out all
no-no.
day.
All day.
Right.
All
You
day,
you
just
that's
slide
a-
in.
you
No,
like
no.
all day. You all
Right.
day. You think you finna come on here and what?
Right.
Man, if you don't get out my bed. I took one before I left the house, but you went outside.
I feel you on that, cool. I'm sorry.
No, bro.
I'm the same way
That's
on
not
that.
debatable.
I'm the same way on that.
No.
Yeah.
No, bro, that's not debatable.
That's the whole, no, you can't tell me if you talking on the phone, she like I'm about to jump in the shower, and then I'm headed your way. And when she get to the house, she gotta take a shower.
Another shower, Coop?
So me, I'm gonna be like, you might well save your water and just use mine when you get over here. No,
Are you serious?
Boy, you better believe it. Because if you take one at your house, when you get to my house, get what you finna do. Take another one. I got your towel in your bath cloth in there on the face. It's on the sink.
Cool.
I got you. I ain't got the soap that you need. It's in there on the. Hey man, no, I don't play them games, bruh. No, I be at home from working from home all day, and I might take 2 showers throughout the day.
Man,
If I go outside to even take the trash can to the curb,
you want them
yes,
clean
my OCD is real.
Yeah.
I'm taking a shower
You
when I
sound
come
like
back in the
my dad.
house.
My dad used to like, man, I took this my 3rd shower today. I'm like, wow.
Bro, hey,
Well, hey man, I ain't gonna say no lie. Like during COVID, man, I ain't even leave the house. You know, so I take a shower.
I didn't either, but I was taking
I
showers.
might have missed a day.
No, not me.
I ain't even leave.
I don't feel right,
I'm
man.
just sitting there in the house. I ain't even moved.
No,
I ain't
I
moved.
don't feel right, bro.
Cool.
I
Listen,
don't feel right.
I just want to go ahead and warn you, Coop. They're gonna come for you after that.
Yeah,
That's
they'll
fine.
come for you.
They
But
come
it's
for
not
you,
gonna
Coop.
change nothing. If you talking to me, you gonna take a shower when you come to my house. So don't talk to me if you don't want to take no shower.
So when you go to their house, you take a shower.
I will. No problems with that. I bring my own towel, bath cloth, and soap.
Cool.
Or if they got something ready for me.
Hey, I just want you to know they're gonna come for you. Hey
I'm
guys,
cool with it.
Miss Smith,
It's not debatable.
for being on the show. We appreciate
Thank you,
your
Miss
knowledge.
Smith.
Thank you.
Hey, that's your boys from Bro Code. That's gonna be our show. See you next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Bro code, bro code.
Bro code, we in new mode, and we do it better sticking together. Won't bend, won't fold. No, I got your back through whatever weather, rain, sleet, or snow. Making profit while we get to the cheddar. They know we own. Take off, we gone. Diamonds two-tone. This is our throne. We in that zone. Bro code. Don't break bro code. Bro code. We in that mode.